This is The Good Government Show.
I have public safety personnel, I have teachers, I have nurses, I have individuals that work in my community but can't afford to live in my community. I think people sometimes are afraid of what they don't know. I'm retired law enforcement. I retired from Henry County. I was a police lieutenant. So Congressman Lewis and Dr. King were close friends of my parents.
Okay.
And so, just watching him and the things that he was able to do in Georgia, he had a great impact. I believe in collaboration and partnership, and I think that is what makes good government.
Welcome to The Good Government Show. I'm Dave Martin. On this episode, we're meeting a county commission president who is tackling two big issues head on: housing and traffic. On this episode, I talk with Carlotta Herrell. She's from Henry County, Georgia, and this is part of the larger metro Atlanta region. Part of the challenge she faces is representing a county that she says has gone from being a once rural county to today a more urban county. However, it's still a little rural. Parts of The Walking Dead were filmed in Henry County, so, be careful when you're alone in the woods. There's no real zombies, but still. Anyway, all right, traffic. As with any growing area, it's a concern, and we talk about that. She says there are solutions, but they involve education and working in the region for solutions that don't just fix one problem, but address several areas. Before Commissioner Herrell ran for office, she was a police lieutenant, and I asked her which is harder, arresting someone bigger than you or sitting in a county commission meeting. So just listen for her answer. The other issue we talked about is a problem across the nation: housing. One way they're tackling it is with zoning laws, making it easier to build, but still maintaining the county's character. So listen to Henry County President of the Board of Commissioners, Carlotta Herrell, and I'll have that coming up next. The Good Government Show is sponsored by Ourco. That means our community. Ourco has found a way to make government more effective. Ourco provides the OUR platform, and this is an app that blends in-person and digital interactions to connect people with their government, their county, their town, their state. The Ourco app transforms meaningful conversations into reliable data. They can turn results into projects and programs the community has essentially already approved. It's sort of like a flash poll by phone, but without the call and in real time and wherever community members are. Maybe they're at their house or their office or where they're out just talking about local issues. Maybe the choice is between putting in more local buses or expanding the bike lanes. Ourco can get you an answer immediately. With OUR, you can engage your citizens or any group, learn what they want, and build programs and policies that advance your county, your job creators, your constituents. So visit ourco.com, that's OURCO.com, and learn how they do it. And while you're there, book a demonstration. Welcome to The Good Government Show. Thanks for coming. If you would, just introduce yourself, please.
Yes, my name is Carlotta Harrell, and I am the chairwoman of the Henry County Board of Commissioners.
What's happening in Henry County? What's the big issue you're dealing with?
Well, as everyone, housing affordability, homelessness, and traffic and transportation.
So housing, have you had a recent influx of people moving into the county?
Yes, we are a very growing, fast-growing county. We're the fastest growing county in the metropolitan area of Atlanta. And so our population has increased a lot.
And has that caused people who were living there to scramble for housing?
I think that because of the current housing market and the pricing of housing, it has made it difficult for our workforce to find housing. And so we do have a lot of housing that's under development, whether they be apartments or townhomes or subdivisions, but they're more on the high-end luxury apartments and brownstone townhomes and of those sort.
And what can you're the boss, you're chairman of the Board of Commissioners. What have you been able to accomplish?
Well, we're working on some things right now. We did have Georgia Tech to do a study for us on homelessness, and we are working with several partners on housing affordability. some of the things that we had to do, I served on NACo's housing task force, and we came up with many scenarios, many different things that we could do to make housing more workforce friendly. So I have public safety personnel, I have teachers, I have nurses, I have individuals that work in my community but can't afford to live in my community. So how do you address those issues?
And that must affect your ability to get new teachers too, right?
Absolutely, it does. It affects your ability to be able to fulfill your workforce. And so some of the things that we were able to address was changing some of our ordinances where you could build housing. We allowed cluster housing. We allowed for housing to be smaller lot sizes, not on 1 acre lots. So what we had to do was adjust our zoning and ordinances to be able to really seriously address workforce housing in our community.
How do you balance the problem, or the challenge, I guess is a better word, of creating more housing but maintaining a standard, not allowing real estate developers to sort of run, kind of roughshod through your ordinances in your town? That must be a difficult balance.
It is a difficult balance, but, we have expectations. And so our building codes are very strict when it comes to building. And so there are only certain types of materials that you can utilize. And
that's to protect citizens, right?
And that is protect citizens. That's to protect their investment. That's to protect our community, because we want our community, as it continues to grow, to still be a thriving community that people want to live.
What's the feedback you're getting?
With anything.
Some good news and some bad news, huh?
You get good and bad feedback. We were a community that was a rural community. So we went from being a rural community.
How long ago were you a rural community?
I would say probably in the last 5 years, we have really grown to be an urban community. So we're not that far. This is very new.
Are you from here? Is this where you grew up?
I was born and raised in Atlanta. And so I've been in my county for 35 years.
What brought you there originally?
The schools.
Still good schools? Still have?
We have great schools. And so that's what brought me to Henry County, was the schools.
How old were your kids at the time?
My daughter had not started kindergarten yet. So
now she's out of school.
Now she's out of school, yes.
Is she a teacher in town now?
No, actually, she's a nurse.
Is she?
Yes.
We talked a little bit before we started having our official conversation. A lot of communities are dealing with this problem. What can you do about traffic? Everyone hates to get stuck in traffic. It's a problem in every municipality. I know Atlanta's traditionally had bad traffic. This is something that you said you've been working on. What can you really do about traffic?
Well, I think that it's going to take a collaborative effort, not just in my county, but surrounding counties as well. And we have to think differently. And we have to think of mobility and how can we move people around other than in cars. So does that mean public transit? Does that mean rail? Does that mean more walking trails, bicycle trails, those types of things? And so how do you create that connectivity? I can create connectivity in my county, but then next door to me, I may have another county. So I believe that if we work together collaboratively as a state, and especially in the metropolitan area, I think that we can address our needs in dealing with traffic.
Everyone, talks about getting people out of their cars, carpooling. I can't say it's ever been a huge success. Certainly with environmental concerns, are we at a point where people are more open to alternative transportation?
Maybe. And then I think also another way to address traffic is, how do you work with your business partners? How can you stagger times when people go to work and get out from work? How can people work from home? So I think it has to be a collaborative effort, both with government and business as well.
And how are you leading that charge?
Of course, working with our Atlanta Regional Commission. We have 11 metropolitan counties. We meet monthly.
Are you ever on the same page?
Yes, absolutely. I think that is what makes it work, is just the simple fact that even though some of our challenges may be a little bit different, but a lot of our challenges are the same. And so how do we come together, work together, and, just make it work out? What
might citizens have noticed over the last few years? Has there been any improvement in traffic?
No.
All right. I tried to carefully word that question. You shot me right down. No, nothing.
No. Just because, so like I said before, Henry County was a rural county. So there was not a lot done with regards to road expansion, road widenings. So Henry County passed its first ever T-Splosh in 2021.
T-Splosh, explain.
And so basically that is a transportation local option sales tax that residents of Henry County decided to add that 1 cent on to tax themselves for us to do infrastructure improvements in our roads. Okay. So one of the things that we did was we were able to partner with GDOT, which is our Georgia Department of Transportation. In Henry County, we have 7 state routes. Those routes are 2-lane roads that a lot of the trucks utilize in their travels. And so what we've been able to do with the partnership with GDOT is we're now expanding those state routes to 4 lanes. We are also getting a new interchange. So we were able to get money from the federal government to do a new interchange off of 75 in our county as well. And then we are doing a lot of our areas, intersection areas, we're doing a lot of intersection improvements where we're doing roundabouts, where we're doing different ways to just be able to keep traffic moving. And so, those are the things that are in transition right now. So hopefully in the next 3 to 4 years, once everything is completed, then we're hoping that alleviates some of the traffic.
So there is some movement on the...
So there is some movement. We are doing those things now.
You've probably studied this way more than I have. Isn't there a point where you can't widen a road, make a road wider? Because it doesn't help. It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, it is a point that you can't widen it anymore. And so then that's where you have to look at public transit. So I sit on a board, the I-75 Corridor Coalition. What we're trying to do is be able to receive funding so that we can provide transportation from Atlanta Hartsfield Airport all the way to Savannah. So we're looking at Atlanta, Macon, Savannah. And so we are working with all of the jurisdictions all the way from Atlanta all the way to Savannah to try to make this happen.
That's a lot of in-state coordination, though.
It is a lot of state, local, and federal coordination. But we've got a lot of support from our U.S. Senator John Ossoff is on board with this, and he got us some funding to be able to do a study. And so we're just trying to move forward with this infrastructure funding that's available. We're hoping that some of that will come to Georgia and we'll be able to do what we've been working on for the last couple of years.
So you have a plan and you're working the plan?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Well, I live in Brooklyn and I take the subway, and people in New York City are used to taking the subway and used to taking the bus and used to taking the ferry. How do you take a community like Atlanta that's so car-based and get them out of their cars?
I think education is key, and those individuals being able to try different things. And so, we do a lot with taking different delegations to different areas, even such here as we are here in Houston, Austin, Texas.
Right, we're here at the NACo, National Association of Counties annual conference, right here in Texas.
Right, absolutely. And so, just looking at how other communities are providing transportation and how it works and how the different methods with the new green energy, how it does not impact the environment. And so if we can take more cars off the road and be able to provide more public transit, then it makes you can move people around more. So I think educating people, I think people sometimes are afraid of what they don't know.
Absolutely. Have you picked up anything here at the conference, either this or previous conferences that you brought back to Henry County that have helped?
Absolutely. Definitely, again, working on housing, working on homelessness, and just being able to network with other commissioners to see what's working in their communities makes a difference, and you can take those things back.
So you have a couple of commissioners you can, on your phone, you go, hey, what did you guys do about this?
Absolutely, absolutely. Always reaching out to other commissioners to see what they're doing. It's not about reinventing the wheel. It's about taking something that's worked, applying it to your community to make it fit in your community. And so just being able to provide those resources and bring that back.
Could we call that good government?
I think that's good government. I think being able to work together, work across the aisles, bring back to our constituents what they're asking, and, just be transparent and honest as you lead.
Well, here on the Good Government Show, we like that. So good.
Yes.
What is your path to get to chair of the Board of Commissioners of Henry County? How did you get there?
So I'm retired law enforcement. I retired from Henry County. I was a police lieutenant, 20 years in law enforcement, and just worked in my community after retirement, worked with several other elected officials that had served before, and I decided to run.
How long have you been in the office?
This is my first term.
Oh, it is. How's it going?
You have good days and bad days.
Okay. So what's harder, locking up somebody bigger than you or sitting in a commission meeting?
Sitting in a commission meeting.
Really?
Yes.
No, but nobody tries to beat you up, though. Well, at least not physically.
Yeah, sometimes you can't make everyone happy. But you do your best.
What do your former officer colleagues say now that you're chair of the county commission?
A lot of them, some of them I worked with when I was in law enforcement, but they're happy. They're very happy. We have a great public safety team in Henry County, and they're doing amazing things. We're doing amazing work with our real-time crime center that we created since I've been the chair. We've hired clinicians to ride with our police officers. So when we have people in our community that are having mental health breakdowns, they're able to deal with it and not take those individuals to jail, get them some help.
Do they ride with them every day, or is it just when the call goes out?
It's when the call goes out, then they are there with them to address whatever that mental health crisis.
Go back to your time as an officer. How helpful would that have been?
That would have been amazing back during that time.
Because as I understand it, going to domestic dispute arguments are kind of like one of the scarier calls you can answer, right?
That and traffic stops. So if we had something like that back during my time in law enforcement, it would have made things a lot easier.
So how does it feel now to be the one who actually kind of like hires the police chief or the sheriff?
Well, our sheriff is elected.
Okay.
But yes, I have an amazing police chief that has been with the county 28 years.
The sheriff, right?
He's police chief.
Okay.
So we have a police department, a county police department, and we have a sheriff's department as well.
The sheriff does unincorporated areas like that?
The sheriff does handle everything dealing with our court, our jail system, and serving warrants and civil papers and those types of things.
Okay, and you're a police officer of the police department?
Yeah, so the police department answers all of the calls. And
so do you hire the police chief?
Yes.
Is it someone you knew from before?
Well, he was already there. So he was there when I took office.
And so was he there when you were a lieutenant?
Yes.
So is it fun to, what's that interaction like?
I mean, it's great because a police chief is amazing. And so I like his leadership, and he's doing a great job. And
has he ever once slipped and said, look, Lieutenant?
No, he just calls me chair.
All right. Well, that's an interesting turn, because you go from being, lieutenant, one of many, to the chair, and now he's ostensibly under you in the flow chart.
But see, what you have to realize that when I was a lieutenant, he was not the chief.
Oh, what was he?
I think when I was a lieutenant there, he may have been a sergeant.
Oh, but you didn't supervise him.
I didn't supervise him. He wasn't one of my supervisors on my shift.
What did you do as a police officer? You were a cop on the patrol or a detective? Or
So I did a little bit of everything. I started off on patrol. Before coming to Henry County, I used to work for the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, the GBI. So I was an undercover narcotic agent. And I did that for several years. Went to Henry County and worked in detectives, was a sergeant on patrol, and then lieutenant. I was a watch commander where I oversaw the complete shift. And had, personnel that worked under me, both sworn and unsworn.
what's it like now to have sort of the full picture of everything that's going on, not just in the police department, but in the entire county, as opposed to being a lieutenant?
So now you get to see the inner workings of government overall. And, it's different. It is different. And so, but I have a great county manager that runs the day-to-day operations. And, we make things work.
After you get done with this episode, hear more good government stories with our friends at How to Really Run a City. Former mayors Kasim Reed of Atlanta and Michael Nutter of Philadelphia, and their co-host, journalist and author Larry Platt, talk with guests and other mayors about how to really get stuff done in cities around the nation. Check them out where you're listening now or through their nonprofit news site, thephiladelphiacitizen.org/podcasts. Okay, well, that was all a warm-up. So now that you have got a new perspective on government, we have a list of questions we're going to ask you. It's our own Good Government Show questionnaire. We're going to get to your philosophy and what you've learned about government. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. You're here because we spoke with Larry Johnson, the past NACo president. Did he prepare you for this in any way?
No, he did not.
Good. All right.
Anything.
So here we go. From your perspective now as the chair, what is good government? Define it.
Good government is being able to create good policy that works for your government, being able to work with individuals, being able to have good county staff that works for you, being able to work across the aisles because we have to work with our state delegation. So being able to work across the aisles and being able to listen to your constituents.
How do you judge your success or lack thereof?
So I judge my success by, the things that we've accomplished, and not just what I've accomplished, but what I've accomplished with a team, with my commissioners, with my staff, with my county manager, just even working with our other municipalities. You have to work together. I believe in collaboration and partnership, and I think that is what makes good government.
How do the people know if they're getting good government? What would you like them to use as their yardstick? Well,
I think a lot of times people think that we can do things that we can't do. And so a lot of times people looking from the outside was like, well, why can't you do this, this, and this? And so there are guidelines that we have to follow. So just to give you an example of what I'm talking about, if someone owns land and their land has a certain type of zoning, if someone doesn't want something, say that person is trying to build, what we can do is make sure that we have standards in place, but we can't stop people from building on their land. And I think a lot of people think that, just shut them down and, don't let them build these apartments on this on this corner or whatever. But that is not always the case.
We're going to get to something like that in just a minute. But how should people know if they're getting good government? What should they use as their yardstick for, the commissioners are doing a good job or the county's doing a good job? What should they look for?
Well, I think one of the things is that, attending county commission meetings. I think also as a county commissioner, holding town halls to educate our constituents on what's going on, what challenges that we face, how they can help us. So just having everyone involved in the process, I think that if people understand, then they may not be so against certain things if they understand.
So you sort of answered this question with the last two questions I've asked you, but what should people do if they don't like what they're seeing or hearing?
Well, if they don't like what they're seeing, don't like what they're hearing, again, get involved. You know, we have all types of boards that individuals can serve on. And so serve on a board.
Yeah, but that's really hard and I don't have the time.
Well, get engaged. Come on. I mean, it's just.
I'm sure you hear that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we hear that a lot, but still, if they don't like what's going on, then a lot of people, they decide to run for office themselves.
Is that what you did?
I ran for office because I thought that I could make a difference.
Have you made a difference?
I think that I have.
So 3 years in, what would you like people to know about government, about Henry County, and about how government works?
Government is hard, and government has rules, regulations, and guidelines that you have to follow. You have laws in place for specific reasons.
Do they make sense?
Some of them make sense, and some of them don't make sense. So some of those things that we can change from a local standpoint with ordinances and things that we as county commissioners can put in place, those are some things that we can change to make difference. But there are state laws that also guide and govern us as well. And those things we cannot change. So that's where they would have to go to their state legislature to get certain things changed.
So who is your political hero?
Oh, wow.
Who inspired you to do this?
Probably Congressman John Lewis. So a little bit of backstory on that.
Okay.
So my parents were very involved in the civil rights movement back during that time. So Congressman Lewis and Dr. King were close friends of my parents.
Okay.
And so, you know, just watching him and the things that he was able to do in Georgia, I mean, he had a great impact. And so if I was going to be a leader in the political arena, Congressman John Lewis is one of those individuals that has inspired me and continues to inspire me because of the things that he was able to do when he was in office.
All right. Now, I'm coming to Henry County. I'm coming to your town. We're having a meal. What are we having? Where are we going? What's the great dish of Henry County?
Oh, wow. Yeah. So we have, if you're coming to Henry County and you want a meal and you want some good Southern cooking.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to take you to the Green Front Cafe in the city of Stockbridge. They got the best soul food in town.
Now we're talking. What are we going to order?
So you can either have some oxtails, collard greens, and macaroni and cheese, or some fried pork chops, fried fish, cabbage, whatever it is that you want.
None of this is good for you, but it's all delicious.
It is all delicious.
How often do you get there?
It's a small business that is in the heart of Stockbridge. And, I don't get a chance to get by there every week, but I try to get there a couple times a month because I love the food.
All right, well, that you sold me. You said you had a career 20 years as a police officer. Was public service, running for office, something you always aspired to? Were you president of the senior class?
Absolutely not. I played sports in school.
What did you play?
So I played basketball, softball, and volleyball, both in high school and college. And had always wanted to be in law enforcement. I never had any idea that I would run for public office.
Who convinced you to do it?
A lot of people in my community asked me to run.
Why? What was their reason for? They must have had something they must have a reason why they thought you'd be good at this. What was it?
Because I was an advocate for many things in our community. And so we wanted to make sure that...
Are you the agitator who sat in the back of the board meetings and went, excuse me, I have a point here?
Absolutely not. I was not that person, but I was an advocate where I could sit down and have conversations with commissioners. And so, being able to bring some resolve to community issues that we had.
How's it going?
It's going good.
3 years in?
3 years in. I'm up for re-election next year.
So you're I wouldn't say glutton for punishment, but you're on board.
I am on board 100%.
All right, this is the Good Government Show. We always like to bring it back to good government. Give me an example of some good government project you've been able to get through or improve in the last 3 years. Good
government project. From what perspective?
From anything that you've done in the last 3 years where you can say, I've improved government in Henry County. Here's something I'm proud of.
Okay, so I would have to lead with our public safety. I think that we have done an amazing job with our public safety, being able to make sure that they have all the equipment to do their job. One of the things when I first came on board was that we had police officers riding around in police cars that were falling apart. We were able to take some of the ARPA funds that we received and purchase police cars, purchase fire equipment that we needed. It was so many needs that our public safety had. And we were able to give them the equipment, being able to give them the salaries, and so being able to invest in our public safety so we could keep our community safe. And to me, that is one things that I know that I can hang my hat on.
Did you get one of the new police cars and go, wow, I wish I'd had this car?
No, I didn't get a new police car, but I wanted to make sure all of my men and women had the equipment they need to be able to do their job.
But did you sit down and go, wow, this is nice? Where were these 5 years ago?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They are nice.
All right. Carlotta Harrell, chair of the Board of Commissioners for Henry County, Georgia, outside of Atlanta. Thank you so much for stopping by and keep providing good government. Good luck with traffic.
Thank you so much.
Do you ride a bike?
Yes, I do.
How often?
Every chance I get.
Have you ever ridden your bike to work?
No.
Set an example.
I don't have bicycle lanes. I might get run over.
Well, now you've got something new to work on. Bike lanes. All right. I'm coming down to Henry County in a couple of years. We're going to ride bikes.
All right. We will.
Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you. I want to tell you what our friends at the LHD Academy of Science are doing. The LHD Academy is the National Association for Local Health Department Data Collectors. Through the Academy of Science, county health directors are coming together to measure their county health issues the same way. Here's the problem. There are over 3,000 counties in the U.S., and they all count differently. We live in a data-driven world. We need all the public health data to be counted the same. Let's say you want to see if your community is overweight, or vaping, or in other ways less healthy than your neighboring counties. To determine this, you'll need to measure these problems the same. You also have to ask the same questions, different results, but same data points. LHD Academy is working with the National Center for Disease Control, creating a standard to count and collect data the same way. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. They create the process and make sure everyone is looking at the information the same way. This means a county in Connecticut can compare their data with a county in California. It's apples to apples. Now, with the LHD Academy, counties and other governments are pooling resources and sharing data and creating a huge database library. That means lower costs, more accurate results, and better information for everyone. Sound like good government, right? If this sounds like something you want to get for your county or your city, check them out at lhdacademyofscience.org. That's lhdacademyofscience.org. What is it that county government does? That's the question county commissioners get asked the most. And the simple answer is everything. On the Good Government Show, we're so lucky to have talked with so many county commissioners and other county officials that have shown us how effective county government is. County government dates back to, get this, 1634, making it one of the oldest forms of government in the United States. Think about it. Roads, highways, hospitals, schools, recycling, law enforcement, water, sewers, and most of the county, those services are maintained by the county. That's county government. The National Association of Counties represents all 3,069 counties across the USA. NACo helps county government work better together through things like sharing best practices. When county government works well, that's just good government. What I liked most about Carlotta Herrell's approach to good government was working together, collaborating with local government, not just locally, but around the region. And it must be fun to once be a police officer and a police lieutenant, and now president of the county commissioner, and in some ways your old boss's boss. Anyway, that's our show. Please like us and share us with your friends and review us right here where you're listening. And check out our website, goodgovernmentshow.com, for extras. Help us keep telling stories of good government in action everywhere. Join us again for another episode right here. I'm Dave Martin, and this is The Good Government Show. The Good Government Show is a Valley Park production. Jim Ludlow, Dave Martin, that's me, and David Snyder are the executive producers. Our show is edited and produced by Jason Stershic. Please subscribe, then share us, and like us and review us. That's the best way to make sure we're able to keep telling these stories of our government working for all of us. Then listen to the next episode of The Good Government Show.